All right, everyone, welcome back. It's been a long time. We've finally got myself situated in my new apartment. It's beautiful. We got everything back. All I have is a screen and a mic and my
Yep.
PC and my two fellas right here, and
Yep.
we're ready to go.
That's all you
Yo.
need.
And we just want to jump right into it because honestly, being away from this for this long, you just kind of want to come back in and just jump straight into a topic. So we're gonna go ahead and start talking about the Last of Us remake the video that came out not too long ago. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of controversy around it, the pricing, the improvements or lack thereof, and
Hmm.
then everything that just comes with what should be a remake, right? Like there should be everything included. There's no multiplayer included in this one. So we're just gonna jump right into a lot of the details. I know Brendan and Show are itching to talk about this. This is one of them almost anticipated games coming up, and we're just gonna go ahead and try to explain why there should be a lot more positivity around this remake than what there is currently.
Hmm.
It's more of like a 50-50 split at the moment, and we really want to just put some details out there and let people know what's actually under the surface of this remake that warrants at least a $50 price tag, because I don't agree with the $70 price tag.
Yeah.
But definitely is something that needs to be explained. We're gonna start off with the video they came out with not too long ago. I believe it was about a week now that the video's been out, and it just sort of detailed what they did for this remake, right? What makes it worth another playthrough. And I just wanted to be real with everybody. Anyone who's played The Last of Us, the game itself is worth another
Oh
playthrough,
yeah, it's a
right?
phenomenal
I've
game.
beaten it
Yes,
like
it's
5 or 6
classic.
times.
Yeah.
Anyone who's played it has beaten it at least 2 or 3 times by now. So experiencing it again in this new form on the PS5 is warranted enough. So we just want to go ahead and really just show what it is that Naughty Dog wanted to improve in this to get it closer to the vision that they had initially in the first place, and how they went past that, with what they have now in technology and the dual sense and
Hmm.
all of that.
What I was gonna say, I think my favorite thing that I saw them, one of my favorite things I think that they have upgraded or fixed for this is really like the gun mechanics and the bow mechanic. I think it just
Yeah.
looks so much more fluid. They were explaining that like how much pressure you're holding down on the trigger for like the bow is now like
Yeah.
depends on how much pressure you're actually like
And
pulling
you're
back.
actually shooting it,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just like
you can
little
quick shoot, you can hold it and shoot, right? You saw some of that
exactly.
in the video, and a lot of the gun mechanics they say are reworked from the ground up. Now there is a lot of hyperbole there. I'm not gonna sit here and say that there's no hyperbole. We're
Yeah.
not hype fest people, right? We look at we look at things here at Filmic at a level that's just more nuanced than what people experience when they have the controller in their hand. Yeah, the mechanics of the gun work it is new, but it's not groundbreaking. It's not gonna.
No.
It's not a night and day difference from
It's
the
probably like
game.
what it's just like the improvements they made in part two, and then probably like a bit more improvement. It's not like groundbreaking, but
Exactly.
it's just smoother. It's
Right.
probably more fluid. It's probably gonna look
Mhm.
cleaner and feel cleaner. So it's just little things
Mhm.
like that. And you're not asking them to like remake the wheel with it.
Exactly. And I mean, obviously, there's going to be some new smoothness to the animations. Like, for example, there are many parts in the video where they were jumping over and vaulting over cover, and that animation looked much cleaner. There's a few animations in terms of melee with the 4x4 that you can use. Or even pipes or anything like that. It's just a smoother animation, and there are also some finishing moves that were adjusted and added. There's a lot there that really can't be known until you get the game in your hands, because I feel like a lot of people are seeing the videos that were leaked and they're seeing the gameplay that was leaked, and they're sort of assuming that that's the game. When the video came out, they showed actually a few more finishing moves that were kind of present in part two. Yes, there's a lack of prone. That was one of the main problems that people are having right now. There's no
Yeah.
prone in this iteration of The Last of Us Part One. But in the first game, it wasn't there to begin with, and they felt like it would have messed with the overall atmosphere of the game. It would have changed the mechanics of the game too much that it wouldn't have felt like The Last of Us Part One anymore, right? There's many different AI animations that were added from Part Two. They talked about the
Mhm.
new system that they added from Part Two, where the AI
Yeah.
is actually able to see their environment and react to the layout around them, which is fine. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
I feel like it doesn't look that different from the first iteration,
right.
but if they're saying that, that they're going to be flanking, they're going to be checking corners a little better, that's from part two. Again, The only problem I feel like people have is that the wording of it when they first released the trailer or sort of the teaser for this and that blurb that came out on the PlayStation blog, there was a lot of redone from the ground up, remade from the ground up, completely reworked. Like all of these words, they're hyperbole. And I feel like the public gets really caught up in the fact that if they say this, oh my god, it's just gonna be a completely new game. It's gonna be like it's gonna be something that we've never seen before. They're gonna show us what part three is gonna look like, and it's not the case because at the end of the day, they are working on other projects, so they can't fully go into this remake. Mind you, this is still a stellar remake. We're gonna get into the graphics in a second, but it's still a stellar
Mm-hmm.
remake,
Yeah.
and they couldn't change completely everything. They just wanted to improve everything as much as possible with the new technology and give you a vision closer to what they had in mind in the beginning, and that's closer than the PS3 and the PS4 iterations that we received. So, Brendan, is there
Right.
anything that you picked up on in the trailer that you might have thought was like wowing to you?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I honestly was very. I don't think I really fully understood to the length in which they were overhauling the graphics. To be honest, like when you saw like the character models, how like completely redesigned some of them look, like I was all like, oh shit, like that's you know what I mean? Like it is much more of a visual overhaul than I was anticipating. So that's definitely I think was a big wow factor, to me. And also just seeing the cutscenes that you were so used to seeing, or like gameplay you were so used to seeing look one way, looking so fresh and new is like. I don't know. It's very nice to see that that rejuvenation for like such like a game I love so much.
A lot of people said that the first game looks so good. It
Yeah,
looked so good. It looks so
I
similar to
know,
this remake because it looks so good.
and that's the reason I've seen people say that they don't need the remake is because like this isn't a game that needs to be remade yet. It hasn't even been out for a decade yet.
Exactly.
But like also we've also come so far in the past. Well, 2013 it came out, right? So like 9 years.
There's something to be said, and I know you can agree. I know Show can agree. When you're watching a movie, a real life movie, right? There's certain nuances when it comes to a live acting performance that you couldn't replicate at that time on the PS3 or even the PS4 hardware, right? At the end of the PS4's life cycle, they were able to really just milk everything out of it, and they gave us The Last of Us Part 2. But the main, I guess, attracting point that they have for this remake is the reality that they're able to add to the acting performances. Now, people are going to look at it and be like, I don't see any difference. Okay, well, that means that you're not appreciating it the way that it needs to be appreciated. When you look at the new animations and the new character models and everything that's going on in the new cutscenes, the acting that they showed side by side with the mocap studio and then the actual new remake footage that they were able to put out, the eye winces, the lip movements, the crinkles of the skin, the sort of the nuance in the eye movement, shaking side to side when Ellie was scared. They're all of those things are adding a sort of visceral nature to the acting performances, which makes it much more real, and it makes the experience different. Now, imagine with what we've seen. They haven't shown any of the key scenes from the game, obviously.
Right.
They've shown a few key scenes, but very short snippets of them. Imagine certain scenes that are early on in the game. We don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played, but people who have played, they know what we're talking about. There's a scene earlier in the game that was gut wrenching.
Oh my god,
when
one of the
first
saddest.
playthrough. It's one of the saddest moments in gaming history. It's one of the most gut punch moments in gaming history.
Like brutal,
Mm-hmm.
It's
brutal.
just
And it's
something
real.
that really sets the
It's
tone for the
real.
game in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that with the new character models and animations. I mean, I can't imagine. It's going to be a new experience for me, for sure. It's not going to be worth $70. I don't think I could ever justify this $70 price tag for it.
Yeah.
But it's still something that I need to catch up on when it comes on sale for $40, whatever it is. I do agree with the masses out there that this is a game that you catch on sale at some point down the line. I've played it enough. I've experienced it enough. I can wait a little bit for it to go on sale and then catch it at that point. But I will get it the minute it goes on sale, right?
Right.
I can't wait to see these new performances get sort of adjusted and made so much more real and so much closer to their vision. It's going to be something that needs to be experienced, and it's going to be very beautiful on the PS5. We're gonna stop that right? We're gonna talk about now what's negative about it and that's warranted, right? There's no multiplayer added.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we can all say that Factions was probably, if not just as good in some cases to some people, it was more fun
Yeah,
for them than the
it was
actual
very
game itself.
popular. Yeah, it was very
It's
popular.
Right.
still popular to this day. It's still got a very live fan base to this day in terms of Factions multiplayer on The Last of Us. Obviously, I can understand why they didn't include it in the game, considering they're doing the multiplayer standalone. That it's gonna be amazing. I feel. I mean, if you look at the way that they're able to add mechanics to a campaign, if they're able to evolve on what they did with Factions, which was a very simple concept, it wasn't anything complicated in it. It was just the gameplay translated over to a multiplayer setting very
Yeah.
well. So
Right.
to see that they didn't include multiplayer, did that disappoint you, Show? Like, do you think that having a remake full price $70 and not including everything that was included in the first game, is that a problem for you? Do you feel like
Of course.
that's a real negative?
That's a huge. All right, for me, because I'm an online gamer as opposed to single player gaming, and to me is I come from that era where you had complete games on the 360 and the PlayStation 3. Games are always complete, and you always got your full money's worth of $60, right? So the fact that you're telling me that you wanna charge me $70, it's gonna look beautiful. The animations are great. I appreciate that, but there's no multiplayer. You're taking something away from a game that would make it 60 like normal. But now you're charging me an extra $10 to have one less feature.
See, that's the key right there.
That's my
That's
problem.
the key. So with the multiplayer added into it, I could see it being worth $60, right?
Right.
Not 70. Now, mind you, we're just getting to 60. With the multiplayer added, it already has the Left Behind DLC, which is a chapter that was released after the campaign was that really connected a gap that was in the campaign 2 points. And it did a masterful job of it, right? That's included in here. Now, you add multiplayer in it, now you can justify a $60 price tag.
Right.
Obviously, everyone's under the impression now that most games going forward that are PlayStation exclusives will be $70.
Yeah.
But we just got a remake that I think has been brought up a few times that I think is one of the greatest examples of why this price tag isn't warranted. And that if you guys have played it, it's the Mafia 1 remake that came out not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
That game was $40. And that
See,
was
and that's
a
fun.
ground up remake. This is a game that came out over a decade ago. And it was completely reworked.
Yeah.
It was practically like they didn't even use any assets from the first game. They just literally reworked all the cars. They reworked the graphics, the rain system, the weather system. They reworked the gunplay, the combat. Everything was it was a brand new game. It was just Mafia 1. And that was 40, right? You can
Right.
arguably say, especially since that was an open world game and it had many more hours of content, you can arguably say that that game is kind of what's going on here with The Last of Us Part 1. This should be a $40 remake. It shouldn't be a $70 remake. It should have a $40 price tag going with it. That's where everyone stands, and I agree with that. $40.
That's fair to me. That's fair.
Yeah.
$40
No, yeah, that's
is
definitely
completely
fair.
fair.
Definitely fair.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get past the pricing of it, right? Because at the end of the day, there are many people that will buy this game at $70, right? Many people who have played it 5 times that will buy this game at $70. Just because to experience it in this vein again is going to be like a fresh new experience to them. And honestly, the video that they released where they really went in depth talking about it, it kind of seemed like one of those Apple keynotes where everything they say just sounds nice, right? And yes, it
Yeah.
is a nice product, but they're really good at wording it to hype you up, to really
Right.
make you think that there's a lot more there when there isn't. But in my opinion, and I believe in Brendan's opinion and Show's opinion, they did enough here to warrant this remake. We're not talking about the price, just to warrant the remake, and there's enough here, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that they added? Now you talk about the gunplay and all of that, but what are some of the things that they really talked about that they added that really intrigued you? Because I have one in mind, but if there's anything that you guys have from the video that really
I
intrigued
have a the destructible animation, like the destruction
Yeah,
around the
I
environments.
Yes.
love that.
Yes. Get
I
into
love
Yeah,
that.
that. That was
that.
that was a really, really great point.
See, I love when games do that because it adds a more sense of the realism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's dope how when well it was a scene, I think Joel was like in cover behind like a pillar, and
Yep.
you see the concrete just breaking off as if he was in the Matrix.
Right.
Remember that scene in the Matrix when they were just letting off rounds and like the whole wall was just coming apart? It looked like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he was running away through the windows, you could see like the glass shattering. And then when Ellie, I believe it was Ellie, she threw something over. It was like a bomb,
Mm-hmm.
and when it blew up, like literally you see the shrapnel just fly through the windows and glass just explodes everywhere. That is it's a nice touch.
Yep. I agree with that wholeheartedly because it gave me a lot of vibes. If you guys remember the E3 demo for Uncharted 4,
Oh yeah.
when he's in the marketplace and the truck comes in and it's shooting everything and there's fruit flying everywhere. There's
Mm-hmm.
obviously that wooden fence that he would take cover behind that would just get shattered to pieces, right? It really had that vibe to it of that being added now to the Last of Us atmosphere. These are things that when you put the games side by side, it makes it so new and it makes it so much more impactful while you're playing the game. For me, one thing that I wanted to say that really kind of leads into that part with the explosions and so much more destructibility in the environments is the implementation that they're going to have with the DualSense controller. I
Yeah.
think that this is something that is going to be a seller for the system in terms of the games that will be coming out around that time. But this DualSense implementation in a lot of the games that Sony is doing is not just gimmicky. You know, these are actual experiences that are put through on the controller that change the way you're experiencing the story as it unfolds in front of you. And one of the
Mm-hmm.
main points was when they showed, which is, everyone probably knows about it, but they did show it in the video, so we'll talk about it, is the giraffe, right? They
Right.
said there's going to be a vibration along the controller
I feel like the breath, right?
of like the breath and of you patting the giraffe. So every touch of the giraffe, every scrub of the giraffe as you you pat its fur, you will feel that on the controller at the precise location that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of that, imagine now with each gun, they did mention that. Now I believe Call of Duty did this too. With Cold War, they implemented it in terms of the ability to do different trigger animations and trigger pressures for different guns. So when you shoot a revolver, it'll have a much harder time for you to press the trigger down as if you are holding one. If you're holding a shotgun, when you shoot it, you feel the haptic feedback of the reload animation when it goes. You'll hear that, which is one of my favorite weapons in The Last of Us Part One. When Joel used the shotgun, because it's just so satisfying to blow someone's head off or blow a clicker's head off, and then you just get
Mm-hmm.
that sound of the and you got the next one loaded in the tank. All of
Speak.
that is just, I think it's worth it to experience this again in the remake for me because of the controller and how they're going to implement it into the game. I just wish I was playing this for the first time. By all means, if you have not played this game yet,
Yeah, wait for this
do
version.
not think at all that this game is not worth it. And I don't think anyone out there is saying that this game is not worth playing, that it's not a good game. No. If you have not played this game, get it for $70. Get it as soon as you want. If you are hype enough for it, go ahead for it. Go ahead, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's enough here to, if you have the money, go get it. If not, wait a few weeks, wait for, Halloween or wait for whatever, it's going to go on sale. Right?
Yeah, at some point.
Holidays are right around the corner. It'll probably be half off or something, right?
Black Friday.
Black Friday, it'll be $20 off, right? So you can get it at some point on sale, but as soon as you can, go ahead and get it. And honestly, for everyone who played part 2 and was upset, about how things played out, you get to go back to part 1 and you get to experience things the way that we loved it, the way that we appreciated it, right?
Yeah.
Before things got changed up. So this is a way to go back and get a breath of fresh air into the game and, and go forward. So the modifiers that they added, the gameplay modes, they added a permadeath. They added a few options to the menu in terms of graphics, right? You got fidelity, you got performance. I'm sure they're gonna add a 40 FPS mode as well. If a lot of you guys aren't familiar with the 40 FPS mode, it's something that was actually just added again to Horizon Forbidden West, and it was added in Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. If you have a 120 hertz display or a display that's able to go at 40 frames per second, 40 frames per second is apparently the sweet spot between 30 and 60. It's at a point where it starts to become a little imperceivable to the human eye as to the smoothness of what's going on the screen.
Mhm.
Now it divides perfectly into 120. Every scene is on the screen for 25 milliseconds. So it's like it's very natural to the human eye to look at it this way. And that's definitely something that will be implemented. If not day one, it will be updated later, right? So you're gonna get a smooth experience with the game on PS5. But that's not even counting the fact that they're porting this thing to PC, and it's apparently gonna come out not too long after the game comes out on PS5. So if you're not even on a PS5, you still don't have a reason not to pick this game up because it's gonna look even better. Now, granted, you need like a freaking 3090 for this thing to run at 4K, 60 frames per second with all graphics enabled.
Yeah.
Which is like
Right.
no one has that. For that, you just go on PS5 and you try to get one, and you just you enjoy it there if you can for $500. But if you have a PC, you can experience it 1440p, 60 frames per second with all the graphics enabled with like a 2080 Ti or something like that, like which is typically around where a lot of gamers are when it comes to the PC realm. They're in that 20 range. There's a lot of 30 series out there now, 30, 60, 70 and all that. Go ahead and pick this game up on PC because it's going to look great and it's a way for everyone to experience it. September 2nd, Last of Us Remake comes out. We just wanted to make sure everyone understands the nuance behind it and what's actually going on here and, trying to dispel the negativity around it. The price tag is understood. Wait for it to go on sale. That's our opinion.
Yeah.
Do experience the remake. It is going to be 100% worth it.
Exactly. There's a lot of added features, and it's gonna look fucking great. So it's gonna be worth it.
Yep. Anything else you're looking forward to, show?
No, I just appreciate all the redesigns they did, especially with the lighting in certain areas.
Yeah, the HDR implementation is awesome,
Mhm.
right? Like the scenes where they show like the landscapes. I believe
Mhm.
there's the Jackson scene when they showed the community they had that you see in part 2, which was much more developed then. But that whole landscape looks different. It's not even the same way it looks in the first game. So they really, I guess, they tried to make every environment itself look fresh. You know what I mean? So that way they're able to, change it up enough for you to warrant going through this again. So we'll leave it at that. This is Filmic Gamer's opinion on the Last of Us remake. It's great to be back. We definitely missed a month. If you guys enjoyed the content, leave a like, subscribe. Let us know what you think down in the comments about the game. Do you feel like it's worth the $70 price tag? Are you gonna get it day one? Is it something that you're gonna wait for to get on sale? Is there something we missed that's gonna be improved in the game that you thought was warranted and should be talked about? Have the conversation down in the comments, and we'll be in there with you guys. We'll try to reply to as many of them. And it's just great to be back. So this is Filmic Gaming, Brendan Show. Thank you guys for being back.
Absolutely.
Peace.
Always. Later.